When my stuff stays safe too.
Or-
My book I left. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our rescheduled commission meeting, March 13th, 2024. Today is March 18th, 2024. The time is now 6:07. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Irvin. Here. Commissioner Kelly.
Present.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Mayor Taylor.
Here. As we stand for our invocation led by Commissioner Williams, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for all the many blessings you bestowed upon us this day and every day. Lord, we ask that you continue to be a hedge of covering over the great city of Opa-locka and continue to allow us to be a beacon of bright opportunities. Amen. Amen.
I pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, awards, proclamations, and acknowledgements, we have none. So we're gonna go into the approval of the consent agenda. Do we have any pulls, deferrals, or deletions on the consent agenda?
Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
I'd like to pull number 3.
Okay, anyone else? On the consent agenda? All right. Can I get a motion on the consent agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, do we have any add-ons for tonight's agenda, madam?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
All right, can you read into the record?
Yes, we have one item that would be included as 14-1 under new item. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving the serving and or sale of alcoholic beverages for the Women's History event at the Ark within the city to be hosted by Commissioner Veronica Williams on March 23rd, 2024, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This item is sponsored by Commissioner Williams, and again, it will be included as 14-1.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor Irvin,
Second.
second by Commissioner Williams. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
I'm thinking the same thing. Since we're
Yes.
not invited, do me and
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly have to support this item? Since it's the sisters.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly says yes.
Mayor Taylor,
Yes.
motion passes 4-0.
All right, so can we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor,
Second.
second by Commissioner Kelly. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, so we're going into the approval of the minutes, special commission meeting minutes, February 9th, 2024. Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor,
Second.
second by Commissioner Kelly. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Rescheduled commission meeting minutes, February 15th, 2024, moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, continue regular commission meeting minutes, February 28th, 2024. Motion? Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, so we don't have any District 1 or District 2 county reports, Madam Clerk, do we?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All righty, so we're gonna have a public presentation, the update on the fiscal year 2022 audit by Markham LLP and Caballero on the audit. You can have the floor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and City Commission. My name is Mo Reese. I'm with the firm of Markham LLP, and we served as your external auditor for fiscal year September 30th, 2022. And earlier in February, we issued the results of the fiscal year 2022 audit that was released in late February. That included not only the city's annual financial report, but also included the CRA financial report. So bringing that, that was the last financial statement that the city had that was past due the Florida statute deadline. Now the new endeavors to work on the 2023 audit. But just to notate that on that day, on February 29th, when it was released, not only did we release the city's financials, but we also released the CRA financials. And wanted to mention that this was the first time that the CRA in a standalone financial statement received a clean opinion. And a clean opinion is the only opinion that you want to be associated with in regards to any financial statements of the city or the CRA. So congratulations to the city and the CRA and showing the improvement from years past. I also wanted to take the opportunity to thank everybody at the city that was able to help us throughout the audit process, from the city manager's office and the finance department. There was a lot of information that was requested, in the fact that it was historical 2022 information, and they were very helpful throughout the audit process. Not only is my colleague Brandon here, but we had a team of about 8 of us that were auditing the city and performing audit procedures on site. A very robust team, not only looking at finances, looking at compliance with rules, laws, and regulation, and also looking at your IT processes. So again, thank you to the city and the city manager's office and the finance department. Our job doesn't end here today. If there's any questions regarding the document, it's a very lengthy document. We make ourselves available not only today, in future months, but throughout the fiscal year. Our audit relationship with our clients is not just to be here during the audit process, but to be advisors throughout the year. When you enter transactions, contracts, and agreements, we're here to help you digest those documents. So open up to any questions you may have regarding the document that was released on February 29th.
Any questions or concerns to our auditor? All right,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
thank you. Thank you for your remarks. I will want a meeting individually with the manager, staff, whoever, because we have some questions. Just one note that I wanted to ask real quickly as it relates to staffing, because there was always the issue of having enough staff in the finance department itself. So in your opinion now, are we fully staffed? Not only for now, I know you've had a lot of folks, as you say, in here to help us and to get us where we need to go. But do we have enough staff currently, city staff, going forward to make sure that we don't run into any challenge we've had previously in the past?
Correct. So I'll let management talk to it. From our perspective, it will be that at the moment, we truly believe that for years past in the current year, this finance department has been supplemented by an outside accounting firm. That accounting firm has allowed the city to have a more robust team of individuals preparing the audit schedules. Keep in mind that your finance department, not only do they have to record and transact the day-to-day activities, but they have to make themselves available for historical audits. We were able to do 3 audits for 3 fiscal years in a term of 18 months. So you're asking the finance department not only to be responsible for the day-to-day activities, but also to pull that historical information. From our perspective, I'm not going to opinionate if it's fully staffed, but what I could tell you is that we definitely saw the benefit of having that extra resource in that outside accountant, because they were able to help us and provide answers and schedules and responses to our information that we requested. And also, they also helped Ms. Nima Gand, the finance director, prepare this document. Not only do they have to prepare the city document, but they also have to prepare the CRA document. The CRA, given the fact that it has met a certain reporting threshold, has to also have a separate audit. And next year, although I do know that the city is fully capable of, next year you're going to have 3 audits. You have a CRA audit, a city audit, and you have a federal audit. You have a federal audit because you received ARPA funding, and now the federal government wants us to perform an audit regarding those ARPA funding to make sure that you used it for the proper expenditures and program activity, which brings a whole new avenue of responsibilities from the finance department to provide us all that information. Again, I believe that the city is fully capable, but that is an extra layer, an extra audit that has not been performed in fiscal year 2022.
So your answer is what?
My answer is that I believe that the city has benefited from having external accountants assist them and be prepared for the financial audit.
So is your opinion, I'm straight to the point, that's why I asked you
Okay.
that. You made a lot of sense. And also with the CRA, that's totally separate. You'll make that speech to them when they meet, so that's a separate,
Mhm.
so I don't want to get in the CRA part. So is your opinion then that we will need the extra layer going forward, as well? And I heard you mention ARPA, which is an extra layer, but also because the day-to-day, and I understand that too. But in most cities, when you're up to date, you can do everyday stuff and that, because you're only dealing with the prior 12 months. So it's your legal opinion, you're saying we haven't gotten there yet, so we need that extra layer of support in order to make sure that we meet all our deadlines and thresholds
Correct. So-
at this moment.
Correct. So throughout the audit process, we were in constant contact with the JLAG. They asked us for information. We provided them updates. I could tell you that next year's audit, inclusive of the ARPA federal funding, the city of Opa-locka received nearly $8 million that are going to be audited. We're going back into time and testing $8 million of expenditures. That is a heavy uplift for any city. And I think that if there's a resource that has been helpful to the city and there's shown progress that this is the first time that we're up to date with the audits. I don't want that to be in jeopardy, but I'll leave that up to management to decide if there's a benefit to keeping the outside accountants. But I believe we're going in the right direction, given the fact that today the city of Opa-locka is up to date with the Florida statute deadline of the filing of the audits.
So again, the answer is yes. Thank you for your presentation. Mr. Manager, I will look forward to a meeting, because there were a lot of questions, particularly with responses that we've given and some of our, as you indicate, deficiencies that are still ongoing. So, but I want to take up time in the meeting.
Sure.
But thank you for your report, and I would just say we look forward to keeping the progress going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
again, we just want to say thank you for all that you and your firm, as well as Caballero, did to bring the city current. The only thing I'm going to ask is that you connect with the manager to connect you with our CRA director as well as chair, so you can do this presentation in front of the CRA as well. And the chair is actually here tonight, so that you can,
Will do.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, so moving along, we're going into our citizens forum. Madam, no, FDOT's not here. Citizens forum, Madam Clerk, can you please state how to participate in citizens forum?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. City of Opa-locka Commission meetings are held in person at the Opa-locka Government Center, City Commission Chambers, 780 Fisherman Street, 3rd floor, Opa-locka, Florida. Members of the public wishing to address the commission may do so in person or virtually. Those persons wishing to participate virtually should register prior to the scheduled meeting time on the city's website at www.opalockafl.gov. When speaking before the commission, please make sure to give your full name and address for the record. There is a 3-minute time limit for public comments. Please adhere to the decorum policy, which is part of the commission meeting agenda. City commission meetings are aired through live stream at www.youtube.com/user/City of Opa-locka. And Mr. Mayor, at this time, we do have one virtual public comment. Mr. Mark Cooper should be online.
Okay, citizens forum is open. We're gonna start with our virtual viewers, virtual citizens first, and then we'll go into,
No?
no.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm being told he's no longer
All right,
online.
so citizens forum is open for those of you that are in the chamber at this moment.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commission. Audrey Dominguez, 1147 Jen Avenue. Last week, I attended the CRA meeting. It was very informative, good projects coming to the city. It was stated by the director that they have set aside $200,000 to help with the parks within the CRA area. And myself and several other residents, vice mayor, commissioners have all been asking, about getting a parks playground. Okay. For our children. It's going on over 2 years now. And we get the same answer. So now I'm asking the commission to work together to draw legislation with the CRA to match up those $200,000 funding. Okay, to get the parks, you can get at least 2 or 3 parks done with that funding if you have $400,000. Because I am aware that they did get a quote from several companies in order to get these playgrounds done. And, you know, I know we have funding in the Parks and Recreation. Either we need to get it through the general fund, through ARPA fund. I'm pretty sure we have some money left in that account. Okay. And like Commissioner Williams is always saying, in the meeting, she stated before, not to pick on you, but she said, this is what we want, but we don't get. So let's think about our children, the future of our children. I have grandkids. When they come, I can't take them anywhere because we don't have a playground. So please think about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Citizens Forum is still open. It's working.
My name is Vicky Howard.
1 second, Mr. Manager, can we get somebody to adjust the mic, please? Ms. Howard.
Yes. Hey, how you doing? Don't put it in my face. Vicky Howard. How are you back there? Okay.
We hear you, Mr.
My
Howard.
address, okay, 14225 Northwest 22nd Court. I've been there for 70 years. I got a problem with the trailers back here. On every street, we have trailers, and there are 5 sections, 5 blocks where I'm at. And on every other street, you got nothing but trailers. And you see my next door neighbor got a blue extension cord going over here. You understand? They got trailers. Do they have to pay tax? Or do they pay? They make my light bill go up. You know, my light bill is really high now. You know, and it's hot, and I need air, and the light bill is so high. You know, it's very hard there now with these trailers y'all got going on. Y'all supposed to make them pay tax at these properties. You know, all these trailers is extra cars. Some of the people take the gate down, the front gate down, where they could park them 10 cars in their front yard. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And then they put the high gates up, and they got a whole new city in the backyard. Yeah, y'all need to do something. I'm here all my life, not just came in. I've been here every day where I'm at right now for 70 years, and we never had this before. They trying to do better in Opa-locka, but this is too much. This is too much. We got too many people as it is, but we got trailers on every block. Every block is trailers. Okay? So let's try to fix that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Howard.
Oh, look at it.
Thank you, Ms. Howard. Citizens Forum is still open.
Good evening.
Good
Janie Russell, 1210 Perry Street, to Mayor, Commission, everyone. I'm here this afternoon to talk about, just heard the previous citizens say trailers. Well, I'm here to talk about the legislation that we have on the books. I support it because I live in a single family home district. It's not an apartment district. It's not multi-family homes. It's single family homes. Before I came today, I spent my day at home today looking at my taxes that I pay. Homeowners pay a lot of taxes. Our millage rate might not have gone up, but there are other things within our tax report that has increased. And We shouldn't have to pay for everything and get less. Homeowners are just as important in this community as everybody. Believe me, I understand the problems of renters. I have family members that's renters. If my husband would let me, I probably would be a renter too. It's expensive to own a home. And homeowners, for the most part, we have to upkeep our homes. We have to add on, plumbing get messed up. All renters don't do that. Some do, keep their rental property up. If you ride by rental properties, all of them need another garbage can. They're always overflowing. And then on top of that, you allow the trailers to come in. What's going to happen when a hurricane comes and the sewer blows out of the ground? We're going to have stuff everywhere. Everywhere. It is not the time to, what would I say? Let me use a politically correct word. to play with this. It is long overdue. And I have a property, and in the back of that property, they have trailers, outhouse. So where the people that are renting with the RVs, where's the sewer going? What are they doing with the sewer? So I looked up RVs today in the state of Florida. That's why they have trailer parks. They shouldn't be in residential areas. Everybody needs a place to stay. We all do, but don't make us as homeowners be the burden of the other people. Everybody should pay their fair share. And on top of that, our renters, do they pay taxes? They pay sales tax, right? But please, I support this legislation.
Yes, ma'am.
I support it from the front to the back.
To the back.
Every bit of it. 90 days
Thank you, Madam
is too
Chair.
long.
Citizens forum is still open. All right. Madam Clerk, the virtual citizens, are they on or before we close?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, citizens forum is closed. All right, so, Commissioner Dominguez, we hear you. We're all in agreement when it comes down to the playground, so it's not falling on deaf ears. Miss Vicky and Miss Russell, we're actually discussing that item tonight, the RV legislation. So once we get to it, we go into discussion and then we'll go from that. So we're gonna move on. Oh, Vice Mayor, you asked me.
Yes, I wanted to respond to Mr. Dominguez because I spoke with Mr. Walker today and I'm going to be working with him to help with that issue.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna move on to our action items. Madam Attorney, 13.3.
Item 13.3, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to piggyback Sourcewell Cooperative Program Agreement number 081419-SHI with SHI International Corp. For the provision of various hardware and software products and equipment in amount not to exceed $75,000, in providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right,
Move for discussion.
moved by Commissioner Kelly. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Williams. Mr. Manager, this is your item. You go ahead and present it, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is a purchase for additional software such as Microsoft for citywide functions. And this is coming from our IT department, and we have our director, Mr. Phil Walker from IT, here to present this item should the commission have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Kelly, you put this item before and
Yes,
second for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under the seventh whereas that talks about the agreement, extending the contract. The agreement that we're gonna have with this entity is gonna expire in October. Because it expires, we're piggybacking, so will it expire in October of 24, correct?
So, good night. This agreement is just to get the software, and this will be for a renewal of the Microsoft software that we're using for the city and also for the police department. This is actually straight from Microsoft. We're just using that agent as a rep.
No, I understand. We're piggybacking off of Sourcewell, but their agreement goes out in October 30th. So you're saying we would have got all the software we need before?
Yes, sir. This renewal is due by the end of this month.
Or the renewal is due before the end of this month?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we don't get this, then we wouldn't be able to access the software we really need to continue.
For Microsoft, everything Microsoft, sir.
That's what I'm saying. So we'll be able to do it until we come back to Microsoft.
If we don't renew,
No, I'm saying we have to renew because that's our provider.
correct.
Okay, and you said for the police department and where else?
And the city. So
Yes.
it's two separate contracts. One's for the city, one's for the police department.
Okay, all right, well, we gotta have the software tech. I would like to, Mr. Manager, just have an idea of how much money we're spending on technology software. Cause they keep coming up in various things. Now, I don't need the answer tonight, but you know, we spend a lot of money on software piggyback. I just wondered how much we're spending on software and how much that overlaps. So you can get that to me and the commission at some point. Thank you,
Yes, sir.
sir. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Thanks.
any other questions on this item? All right, hearing, Mr. Manager, Commissioner Kelly brought it up, but I don't think it was really answered. That last line that says on November 17, 2024, SHI and Sourcewell agreed to extend the contract for additional period with a new contract expiration date, October 30th, 2024. So after October, this is coming back.
So what?
It says it expires on October 24, October 30th, 2024.
We would already have it at that time, Mr. Mayor.
So it won't come back for a renewal
Correct.
or no more. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
how long is the contract for? So it's
Is it one?
forever or
1 year?
1 year from today? Well,
Yes,
from
from the effective date.
effective date. Okay. All right, yeah, that was my concern too. All right, so we're good. Any other questions on this item? Hearing none, we can call the question, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes,
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All righty, we're going into our ordinances, first reading. Madam Attorney, 16A1, sorry.
An ordinance,
Mr. Mayor, we have the add-on item 14-1.
Oh, I thought we were skipping that because we wasn't invited. No,
Plan.
I honestly forgot about it. I'm sorry. All right, Madam Attorney, 14-1, I do apologize.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving the serving and or sale of alcoholic beverages for the Women's History event at the Ark within the city to be hosted by Commissioner Veronica Williams on March 23rd, 2024, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Commissioner Williams.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move.
Moved by Vice Mayor.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Williams, this is your item. Go ahead.
Yes, everyone is invited. And as Jalen says, grown-up juice will be served. Thank you.
All right, any questions to the sponsor on this item? All right, hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
yes,
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass. What the grown-up juice, yes. Mayor Taylor.
I need Commissioner Williams to say personally, Commissioner Kelly and Mayor Taylor is
Personally,
invited.
Commissioner Kelly and Mayor Taylor and all males are invited.
Then the answer is yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All righty, so now we're moving on to 16A1.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending Article 2, Division 2 of the City of Opa-locka's Code of Ordinances entitled Rules of Procedure, and more specifically, Section 2.45F pertaining to preparation of agendas, to amend submission and completion dates, providing for severability, providing for conflict and repealer, and providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Mayor Taylor.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Commissioner Kelly. This is a public hearing item, but I presented. Me, the manager, the clerk, and the attorney met to put some new rules, procedures or calendar, scheduling, I'm sorry, of how we present legislation and put it forth through the agenda process. I got choked up on my words, I'm sorry. But rules and procedures. So that's what we are here for with this item. So public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Any questions on this item? All right, Madam Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Bass, I'm sorry.
Thank you. As you can see, I was late. I don't have my glasses. And just go a little bit into the ordinance for me.
Sure. What we agreed upon, amending article.
Just bullet points.
I'm trying to get to it. So all items will be presented to the manager or the manager's designee no later than 12 p.m. on the Monday, 12 days prior to the regular commission meeting. The manager then or the designee will have 24 hours to give it to the city attorney, the Monday, 24 hours from that Monday received, 8 days prior to the next meeting. Okay, by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday, 3 days prior to the agenda, that the agenda is disseminated, it will go to the clerk. Madam Attorney and Clerk, if I'm skipping stuff, just let me know, 'cause I'm trying to read fast. Any items that has to go on the commission for what is this? Emergency items, has to be a 4/5 vote, and that's pretty much it. It's the only thing we did was it's the same process that we have now, we just gave the manager one more day to submit it to the attorney, and the attorney one more extra day to submit it to the clerk.
I was gonna say, Mr. Mayor, in a nutshell.
Yeah, in a nutshell. I don't know why you just said it the
Give
first
the
time.
staff and
Yeah,
everyone a
it
little
just
bit
gives
more
them a little more
time.
time.
Yeah.
That's all it is, because that's what they were asking for, a little more time.
Yeah.
All right, so
Thank you.
no problem. Any questions on this item? All right, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes first reading.
All right, we're going into 16A2.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending Chapter 19, Article 1, Section 19-9 of the City of Opa-locka's Code of Ordinances entitled Streets and Sidewalks to create a new section entitled School Zone Speed Limits to require enhanced enforcement of speed limits within roads properly maintained as school zones in accordance with Chapter 316 Florida statutes, and authorizing the placement and installation of speed direction systems on roadways maintained as school zones, providing for severability, providing for conflict and repealer, and providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Mayor Taylor.
All right. Can I get a motion?
Move it with discussion.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second for discussion.
second for discussion by Commissioner Bass. Simply put, the state recently passed a law that allows cities in the state of Florida to regulate school zones by putting an extra layer of safety in school zones to regulate speeding. So it's been done in the county, and a lot of cities are following suit in order to make sure that our children are safe when they're crossing the street and that people are not speeding in school zones. Simply put, that's what this legislation is. So this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open.
Christina Banks, 2470 Northwest 140th Street. I'm here in regards to this ordinance because in the back of Pride Choice, and there are a couple of other areas, as we have accidents, signs get knocked down. And in that particular area, it's a really bad area. I'm sure if someone was here from OLPD, they would know it. Because when you get ready to come out of Price Choice, you have 3 different ways to come out to the road. You have kids going in the morning, going to school, kids coming home. The sign got knocked down at the Burger King right there, which was a stop sign. OLPD know the stop sign was taken down. So when you're making a turn and you're coming down that street, it gives them the right to come straight out. And then nobody knows who has the right of way. So if we're going to protect our kids and enforce these people that are speeding, we do have to adhere by putting the signs back up so people will know what is the policies in our city. People are beginning to come where Pride Choice is. Usually, and I've been here 54 years, it's one way in and one way out. Since the sign has been removed, it's any man's thing. They're coming in and they're going out on both sides of the road. The other day we had children that, thank goodness, there were some people there who actually helped some of the children as the traffic was turning in. I'm just here to bring it to the attention of the commission and the city manager and his staff, because it's very important. Because once they do that, the city is going to be liable for it too, because it's our responsibility to make sure that these signs are up. And right now, that particular area, and that area where Burger King is, where you turn, it's not. I've seen many people come head on to each other there. So the commission, I'm asking you to just look into that. City manager, I'm bringing it to your attention so that we don't get sued, because we can get sued too with them coming out and going in a one way in, one way out. And I'm sure all of our commissioner knows that particular area, okay? You got traffic coming out of Price Choice right there. 3 different ways. We have the fence, which is a blockage. So if they're coming straight out from the store, you don't even have an idea they're coming. We have kids coming from that way. Just want to bring it to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Banks. Public comments, public hearing is still open? Okay, public hearing is closed. So this was opened up for discussion. Commissioner Williams, you asked first.
Yes, through the mayor.
And before you do that, Mr. Manager, can we bring Chief up to answer any technical questions, if you don't mind?
Yes, absolutely, sir.
Okay. So there were a few questions that I asked during my agenda briefing that wasn't clear. So that's why I wanted to actually move it, have a discussion on it, because unfortunately, the assistant chief didn't know some of the answers that I asked. So my concern was so we know that we have a school zone that is 15 miles per hour. Of course, if you break it, and most schools have a school resource officer that's already there at the schools, that also, if you go too fast, will ticket you. They're able to cite you. Where I was confused with this legislation is it over 15 miles? No one can seem to tell me so we know Alabama, specifically Robert Ingram, and we know Commissioner Bass is Robert Ingram, but there is a pretty long stretch of road that you have to go 15 miles per hour. And I'm almost sure all of us at one point tapped accidentally our accelerator, and it went 18 or maybe 20 until we figured out, hey, I'm going a little too fast. Let me slow it down. Are we saying the minute we go over 15, the camera system will automatically spot us and send us a ticket?
I can answer that question, and Chief can verify if I'm right. It's 10 miles over the existing speed limit. So 15 if you're 17 miles an hour. No, but if you're 10 miles over the 15, which would be 25, right?
It's actually at the 11th
Oh,
mile
it's
per
the
hour
11th.
over.
11th
10
mile
miles an
so,
hour
okay.
over is the grace. So at the 11th mile an hour over, that's when the camera triggers and
So that'll be 26.
26
Okay,
miles an
so
hour.
that was my that was like my major question.
Yes.
Because I do know that we all go through school zones and accidentally tap from time to time. Then my next question that I had on my briefing is, we also know that specific schools have heavier based off of where, just the surrounding community as well as the roadway. I'm almost sure, as Ms. Banks stated, Nathan B. Young probably gets a lot of, it's just very congested. And so I'm sure there's a lot of speeding, even though there's speed bumps here and there, but I'm sure it doesn't really, the ins and the outs. But I'm just curious, have we done an assessment to know what schools have more violators than other schools?
So the traffic study is being conducted as we speak.
Okay.
What would be interesting to know is that 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after the school zone timeline, the cameras capturing the violators will not be capturing for school zone speeding, but for actual speeding. So they'll be registering and ticketing those violators that are traveling faster than they should at the speeding rate, not at the school zone rate.
And lastly, what if the principals and the employees of the school consistently get ticketed? That's real. It's true, because if I am an employee at that school and I am constantly, think about it. I go to work there every single day, right? And if I am late for work, or if I see a little hole and I got to go out for an appointment, and I might see where I can, do a little speed out of the gate, because we all do it as employees, we do it. So what's the plan for when we now have all of Nathan B. Young and Robert Ingram employees sitting here saying, I'm getting ticketed frequently? What's that plan? Because I see it's gonna happen.
Well, can I say this? I have no remorse for employees that speed in school zones, because they should know better.
No, but I'm not talking about
No.
those that I'm saying sometimes we are late. We are late. That is true.
Need to wake up earlier. I'm just.
You,
I just gotta speak.
no, I'm
Yeah,
just
like every
saying,
nigga that had to pay, so I
because
know.
you're saying and I'm a little offended about it, but anyway, you're saying, as an employee, you're saying that the SRO can ticket, which we know they have that power as well, which they do. They ticket left and right. So now we're also saying you're going to also receive a ticket in the mail, right? Is that what we're saying at 25?
That is
So if I
26.
hit 26 and I
26 or
catch
over.
myself and I go down, I love how everybody want to act like they never went over 25 in the school, but it's okay. I'm saying,
But you know what we could do? And I think okay. We're gonna provide education to the community on
Yes.
the legislation. So what we can do is take that a step further and put that education and that outreach in the school system. So for the employees, to let them know, hey, this is what's coming down the pipe. So those of you that are late to work and those of you that like to speed out of the gate, you need to pull up on the gas.
So look, if I may, commissioners, obviously, I'm retired from Miami-Dade County. When this all began, marked police units and undercover vehicles, unmarked units who live in the county and outside the county, we were forced to pay if we got caught. Matter of fact, I came from internal affairs. Captain John Ryan, he came from internal affairs, and all those citations would go to internal affairs, and those vehicle numbers would be documented, and that would go through the chain of command as a personnel complaint, and those tickets would be paid by that officer. If it happens more than once, disciplinary action would follow. So we're not we're held to the same standard
Well, I know, yeah, I know you are, but what I'm saying is we're saying two schools, I'm so sorry, two schools in our community. I'm okay with it. I just foresee that this is going to bring a little bit more. Now we're saying there's Dade County Public Schools, you have SRO, we're ticketing, they are out there doing that too. Now we're double ticketing because now we're saying give.
I would tell you this, that Lake Stevens Middle School on 183rd Street and 50th, First 52nd Avenue, somewhere around there. They took a huge hit within the first month. After that first month, everybody learned their lesson. They slowed down.
And I believe in Miami Gardens, I believe just today, there was a child that got struck by a car, by a speeding
That's
car.
correct.
So, yeah.
There's no chart. There's no quarter.
I'm not, I just wanted the answers. I wanted the answers. I'm just, okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And I think Commissioner Bash, I'm sorry, Commissioner, all right, Commissioner Bash, you also open up, you asked for discussion as well.
I'm kind of lost for words right now after that conversation. But I would ask, where would those cameras be placed? For instance, my school, where would they be placed?
It's east and westbound on Alibaba for your school. The exact locations I can't tell you off the top of my head, but on Alibaba, for every location at North Park, East and Western Alabama, at your school, East and Western Alabama, those locations are going to be, yes. So I don't have the exact locations, but I can let you know as soon as the traffic study is identified.
Okay, so the cameras won't be on Ahmad Street? Just Alabama? That's it?
I can't answer that because the traffic study will determine the best location based on the traffic study of where those cameras should be placed.
I'm thinking, should we get our traffic study first and then bring this back? Because we don't have all of the details.
So in order to think it has to be passed and the traffic study be done in order for it to move forward. The company isn't going to conduct the traffic study unless they know that it's going to be done. It's a necessary evil, but it's something that must be done.
Mr. Bass, could you yield? Because I want to talk about that point. Could you yield?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Aren't we doing, Mr. Mayor, to the manager, aren't we doing traffic study throughout the city right now?
Well,
To enhance our whole traffic patterns and streets, et cetera. Aren't we doing that right now?
not necessarily throughout the city. There are pocketed areas, and I'm actually going to do a report on that tonight with some of the challenges that we're having with the contractor.
Because I thought one of the areas we were doing was Alabama, as you mentioned, because I kind of torn between putting it out there too and not really knowing what the studies show. And then some of the areas, because I would even want to, I'm sorry, Commissioner, I'll wait for my turn. I just want to.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Because there are other areas, as was mentioned, that are not necessarily right in the school zone, like when you talk about down Alabama. I'm thinking, for example, in Nathan Young, coming from the fish market coming down, but you also could say 143rd, you could say coming the other way. So where would how many how would that work? And then we keep talking about those two schools. We got other schools here in the city as well. So I'm trying to figure out logistically where these cameras are going. What you're saying is the company will not get that far down the road until they do the traffic study. In order for them to do the traffic study, we got to pass this.
Yes, sir. So there's 4 schools identified. And all 4 schools have the areas where the cameras are proposed, but until we identify exactly where they are based on the flow of traffic, they're going to hold off on saying, yes, it's going to be here. Yes, it's going to be here.
So our traffic study or the information we're gathering will not only come from the traffic study that would come with this initiative, but also in conjunction with whatever the police, school police are doing, because they can write tickets too. So we would have that information as a part of this.
I can't comment on the
assessment.
school's police, Commissioner Kelly. I can only comment on the work that we're doing based on this initiative. I can find that out for you. I just can't tell you that right now, right at this moment.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Chief, an important note, Commissioner Kelly. because what you were saying is this, I had a concern about that too, putting it in other places outside of, this is what the conversation me and Chief had, outside of where they're already the hotspots. So I brought up the concern about around the Nathan B. Young area as well. So, but what we did find out is that we can add cameras and no cost, additional cost to the city. So if we identify areas that our police chief or police department or even the commission decides that is a hot spot, they will add a camera in that area
That is correct.
and no additional cost to the city. Because I thought about when I brought it to the in front of what was that, the part Helen Miller.
Helen Miller
I
Center.
thought about Helen Miller. I thought about the back of Nathan B. Young, the side of Nathan B. Young, but what they were, we can add it. That's what we got to.
Well,
We can add it.
you got the back part, as Commissioner Bass come out of
Ingram.
No, we
Yeah.
brought that up too. But I was just saying, I was
Vermont and
commenting
all
based on what you
those.
were saying about the Nathan B. Young area. So we were all, I'm on board with that as well.
Okay, all right, and the other part, I'll wait my turn, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Bass. Wait, thank
No, you
Mr.
can finish.
My only other question
sorry.
I had was on the public relations, getting it out. The campaign said you're gonna not only, I guess, 30-day campaign to get the word out. And as Commissioner Williams was saying about employees, so now that would be extended to the employees in the school system or around those areas. Okay. So 30 days prior to us actually starting will be the public awareness campaign, and who will be doing that? Because I guess right now we with the PR firm thing hadn't come back. So who would be doing that? Would that be the police department? Is that part of the entity that you're engaging for the traffic study? Who would be doing the public engagement?
That would not be the company that they were engaging. That would, I don't have the answer for that right now. I could find out for you.
It
Let you
would
know.
be what I envision is the commission, social media, door to door, through the schools, our police department, whoever we can to get it in the hands of our residents. So we will all just have to take on that heavy lift. Because as you said, we don't have a PR firm.
Okay, well, all right, I know it's out there, I guess it hadn't come back yet for the PR firm. So, what you're saying, Mr. Mayor, is that we would just do the lifting ourselves
Yes,
as a city?
As a city. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, all right, thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
All right, and Commissioner Bass, you still have the floor.
Yes,
And
thank
we'll
you.
do Vice Mayor Levine. Sorry.
So my question is, are our intentions to reach out to the principals and have a conversation with them as well? And this is not only going to affect the employees, but our parents, and not just parents, Opa-locka residents. And I just, it's kind of a catch-22 for me, honestly. I don't know where I sit with this one because we don't have all our questions answered.
Understood. So once we have all the questions, we can have an open forum through the city manager. We can have a meeting for everyone to come and ask the questions, have a question and answer session and get all these questions answered. But we have to have the answers first before I can answer the questions. And we will get the answers. We will have the answers. I just don't have them right at this moment.
Through the mayor, was it?
Commissioner Bass.
Did you?
I was waiting.
No,
I was
okay,
waiting my
okay,
turn.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Okay, will there be some kind of signage to let people know that,
Yes, ma'am.
okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, I'm not a speeder. Got one speeding ticket in my lifetime and I've been driving since I was 14.
And your golf cart.
So I got one speeding
And the
ticket.
golf cart.
Well, because I was 14 years old, right? It does go 30 miles an hour, so it's possible, but not with me driving. I think that we really have to protect our children
Yes, ma'am.
because our children don't always make the best decisions. But I cannot imagine that parent that got that phone call this morning about her child that's never coming home again. Never. So as long as we let the people know that they're being watched and could receive a fine through a camera system, I'm fine with it.
And
Thank you.
thank you, Vice Mayor. Chief, and through the manager, what we can do is, if this is to pass first reading, before we bring it for second reading, because by that time, they'll know that we're serious about it. We can do a workshop with the commission to get all of the questions answered that they have. And then they can present the study at that time. And then we'll bring it after that for the second reading if this is to pass tonight.
So,
First-
Mr. Mayor, you want a workshop after this reading and before the second reading?
Yeah, because remember, we gotta move this forward if this is to pass. We gotta know
Understood,
we're
sir.
serious to do it.
Understood.
Through the mayor. What I would before and again, I have no quorums for this passing because I 100% believe in the safety of our children. But the cart that's before the horse is no one have spoken to any of these principals to let them know this is coming down the pipe. This is happening at their schools. They're going to, I'm not saying they're going to disagree with it. I'm speaking from experience. I would be upset that the city is passing something that they have not consulted so that I can be prepared to, because I'm telling you, the phone calls are going to happen to those schools. Those administrators are going to have to be able to answer every question. Unfortunately, the parents will not show up to the workshop. They're going to descend on the school and they're going to want answers. And that's my quorum that I have is that we have not spoken one-on-one, make a meeting, personal meeting, chief, with you, the manager, whomever, with the principal and the administrative team of these schools and let them flush out all the answers that they have so that when these calls come, they're able to answer it. And that's what I'm asking.
Well, I agree. And
Mr.
what we can do, one second, chief, we can put that outreach in the interim if this is to pass first reading. So not only will we do the workshop, but we'll also go out and do the legwork with the principals. And I'll go with you, Mr. Manager, and the chief, and we'll sit down with all of those principals and we'll tell them what's coming down the pipe. And then we can go from there.
Yeah, because we would have to send out school messengers. Like there's a whole layer that I think there's things that I don't know that I don't know if you've consulted with MDCPS on this. There's a lot of things. We send out school messengers all the time. Those have to go out at a certain time to let parents know. So I'm just saying that's why I'm asking that you please meet with the administrative team before this goes to second read.
Sure.
And Commissioner, I think school board knows because the county did this. They already passed this. So it's in county school zone.
So, but we met with the county, like the schools knew that this was coming before they even went to the commission, before it went down to the county commission. So we, yeah.
All right, so Mr. Manager, we have, all right. And
We've got our marching order, sir.
marching order. And Commissioner Kelly,
No, I'm good.
we're good? All right, any other questions or concerns on this item for the chief? All right, there's no amendment needed, Madam Attorney. There's all that stuff is administrative. So I'll work with the manager and we'll figure out and put a calendar together if this is to pass tonight. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Baz.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes,
Motion passes first reading.
all righty, we're going down to 16A3.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida pertaining to the storage of recreational vehicles, amending Article 5, Section 22-116 of the City of Opa-locka's Land Development Regulations, providing recreational vehicle storage is prohibited on property zone residential, amending Chapter 7, Article 1, Section 7-6 of the City of Opa-locka's Code of Ordinances to establish a civil penalty for noncompliance, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Commissioner Williams.
All righty, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. This is a public hearing item. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Williams, go ahead and introduce the item, then we'll open up the public hearing.
Okay, I'll introduce it pretty fast. It's self-explanatory, but I will say this. A year and a half ago, I went to a mayor's summit with Mayor Daniela Levine Cava. And at the time, the mayor of Hialeah, Steve Bogle, mentioned over a year and a half ago how his city was being overran by boats and RVs, and how those people that are living in the boats and RVs, which I couldn't believe people were actually living in boats, but that is a thing. And he said, mark his word, this was going to overtake not only Hialeah, but all other surrounding cities as well. And lo and behold, here we are a year and a half later, and it has happened. It has happened. And so we know that the city of Hialeah, if you drive through Hialeah, it is an RV park, 100% an RV park. And we know that Hialeah has passed this legislation already, and others as well. One thing we know is that Opa-locka is the neighboring city to Hialeah. So when their legislation gets kicked up and their residents begin to get fined, where do we think those RVs are going to go? Right to Opa-locka. They're here and they're coming. And so this is in response that we must do something so that we do not get overran. We are overran, but we're not going to allow them to push out the RVs out of Hialeah and then come to Opa-locka. This is not a racial problem. This has nothing to do with anyone's background. This is homeowners that are saying enough is enough. If you don't know, like me, I have to buy a brand new AC unit. You can imagine I'm broke. And so we're wondering, how is it that AC units in our houses are going down so fast? Why is our water pressure so low? Why, when we flush our toilets, correct? Our water pressure has gotten lower and lower and lower. And that's an issue that we need to start looking at. When I said a year and a half ago, where are those services going? When we talk about garbage, we talk about sewer, we talk about AC, etc. Those are services. So when we have not only a single family home living in a house, we're talking about 2 single families living on one property, probably upwards of 10 people or more living on one single family property, taking up one AC unit, soaking up electricity, taking everyone's waste. So something has to be done. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. All right, any questions or concerns for the sponsor of this item,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Bass?
I just want to tell Commissioner Williams, thank you so much. On Saturday, I actually saw with my own 2 eyes. I think I was wearing my glasses, so maybe 4 eyes. A home that had 4 trailers in the yard with a potty, that is the little toilet thing, porta potty. I saw it with my own eyes on Saturday in Opa-locka. So something has to be done. I'm all in support of this. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor?
I too am in support of the item, but for those that do have RVs, if it's legitimate or whatever, Walmart, you can park at the Walmart for free. That's it. Walmart accept all travelers for free.
Mr. Mayor,
I didn't know that either.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
Target, don't do that, just one more. Let me ask a couple of questions. I support the intent, but I need to get some clarity on how this would work. If it is passed, when I look at the legislation, it says 90 days from the passage, there'll be a community campaign to let folks know, et cetera, so forth. Would that be done the same way we were just talking about before? How would that public information campaign to educate the residents? And I'm saying that because a lot of our folks will tell you they don't know anything, even though they've been there forever. So how would that work, number one? And removing the recreational vehicles, the cost in terms of the fines, what would is it just $500 automatically the first time? I think that's what I'm reading. And then subsequently it goes to a different level to the sponsor. Because I'm trying to envision, because as it's been stated, there are a lot of them. I've been dealing with this for almost 2 years and meet me Monday, so I'm glad to see legislation. But how would it work? Because I mentioned and I've heard the same comments that Mayor Bovo, and it's a big issue even now, even though they passed it, how to implement, how would it be implemented? I guess that's the question I'm trying to understand. We pass it, we have 90 days, we're gonna educate our residents. And then after that, their non-compliance, code enforcement will take the necessary actions as specified in the land development regulation. I got that part over the code of ordinance. So when they see it, does that mean now they're going to cite the property until they do it? Or is there provision here that eventually we would just have them removed or be running fines to the sponsor?
Okay, I'm going to defer to the manager.
Thank you, Commissioner. Through the mayor to Commissioner Kelly. The way this is going to work is we will have 90 days to outreach to the residents of the city of Opa-locka. How we're anticipating doing that right now is to put a notice for a workshop in the water bills so that all the residents, when they get their water bill, they'll see the date and time that they're going to have an opportunity to come and discuss that with their administration, answer any of their questions, and explain how it works. But it's fairly straightforward and simple. After the 90 days, code enforcement, if they find a RV in residential neighborhoods, they will cite them. That will be a $500 fine. After you receive that $500 fine, residents will then have 30 days to remove the vehicle before code enforcement comes back to check to see if the vehicle's gone. If the RV is still there, then code enforcement will have the authority to bring that property owner to the special magistrate for additional action.
Okay, thank you. So that's RV. So that includes, because I heard my colleague mention about boats. So that includes any kind of recreation entity that's in the backyard or whatever. Because I hear RVs, but I see the little Home Depot houses in the back, and I see a whole lot of other things that people tell you I have so I'm trying to, does this legislation cover that, or is that separate from this? Because I see that as well. I see both of them in the same yards. I mean, the same backyards or whatever. But this legislation is specifically for the RVs.
Well, you're welcome to bring that legislation at the next meeting. This is for RVs. This is not for boats. Actually, over a year and a half ago, I did pass boat legislation already. And Ms. Flores, if you can send the commission that legislation so everyone is aware. That legislation didn't go as far as the RV. That one had every boat owner register their boat and pay a registration fee to have their boat in their yards because that wasn't a thing. That wasn't a thing over a year and a half ago. Actually, it was not a favorable legislation as well. However, this only is specific for RVs, and we can clearly go further with any other legislation moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, no problem. Any other? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question is, and I guess this would be to code enforcement, how are we identifying those sheds or trailer homes that has permits or those that are placed illegally? How are we distinguishing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Through the mayor to Commissioner Bass, that is a challenge right now. I received a message from a resident on Facebook on last Saturday with that exact issue. I went out to the resident's home on Saturday, met with the resident. She showed the neighboring property, which since she had been there so long, she knew that at one point in time was a garage that had been converted into a home dwelling. When I met with our code enforcement department and our other adjacent departments that work on these type of issues, we pulled up all the records that we had. And as far as we could go back, they had permitted it as had listed it as a dwelling of the home. And we didn't have any pictures of when it was a garage. So there was no way for us to take additional action. So we are looking at that. And then in addition, we're not able to get onto the property to look on the inside to see exactly what's going on. Is it being used as living quarters? So it's a very challenging issue.
One more question. Do we have any idea of how many trailers that we might have right now in the city?
Yes, once this legislation was proposed, code enforcement began counting RVs in the city, and I believe the last number that I checked was over 80. But I can also bring up Mrs. Wilcox. Do we have an update on the number of RVs?
She's at 160.
Well, I see she found that.
So 80 went to 160.
80 went to 160.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so the only, and not issue, but thing that I have with the legislation is that it only speaks to residential areas. And if you drive through the city, there are RVs that are parked in non-residential areas. So I think we need to put a little more meat into this in this sense by saying that, hey, you cannot not offer for occupancy for sleeping, living, cooking, any life-sustaining activities. You can't do that in the city of Opa-locka. So those RVs that are parked in non-residential areas, you can't live in. Because it only speaks to residential. Because the loophole to this, if I park it on a car lot, there's one, I can live in it. So that's what I'm asking. The only thing I'm asking, that you add language in here that you are not allowed to live in an RV in the city of Opa-locka, no matter what zone it's parked in. So that's the only amendment that I'm asking to this legislation.
I'm gonna ask Ms. Wilcox, is that?
Mr. Manager, can Ms. Wilcox come to the?
Yes, sir.
We want to see your beautiful face.
Wilma Wilcox, Code and Compliance. I agree with the mayor, but I would like to go a step further and add the illegal sewer connection.
Yes.
And electric.
And electric.
So, and I pulled up, because you talked about Hialeah. So I pulled up Hialeah's legislation, and they have shall not be offered for occupancy or used by any third parties or occupied or used for living, sleeping, cooking, or any other life-sustaining activities, or for storage purposes by the owner, tenant, person in possession, or to any third party who is not the owner or tenant of the residence, but obviously that doesn't apply here. But some language like that to include illegal sewage hookup, as well as illegal electrical hookup. So, and that's the ordinance that was passed in Hialeah. That's the only thing I'm asking that you add to the sponsor, if you don't mind. Language that speaks to
No, I
that.
don't mind at all.
But this is only for the 90 days, correct?
Correct. I think
And then
after the
after
90,
that, it's not gonna be, I just want to be clear. We're gonna prohibit them altogether.
well, what the new language would be residential and non-residential, and then include the hookup to sewer and electric.
Illegal sewer.
Illegal
connection.
sewer connection.
The challenge with that is we have a lot of car lots, and because this talks about storage. So you have a lot of car lots and what do you call those? Not junkyards, but mechanic shops. So if they say, oh, it's here because we're working on it, or it's here because we're selling it, how does that work? So that, I think we need to flesh that out a little bit more for non-residential. And maybe you work with the attorney for second reading to, and the,
Well, right now, currently, you already have an ordinance for prohibiting them from living in the trailers.
I couldn't find that, and I looked.
You do have that. They cannot. You do have that language where they cannot live in, they're prohibited from living in the trailers or the RVs. We've actually cited several of them. Once we can get in, like the manager said, it's very challenging because if they tell you, no, you can't come in my property, we can't go on their property. So, but we have found some that we have been able to, and how we do identify it is this, the illegal sewer connection. Because that gives you the knowledge to know, okay, you should not be connected in any way, because this is only supposed to be for you to go in and out when you're on the road, traveling with your family, whatever. So we have been able to do that, and there is an ordinance, and don't quote me on the top of my head right now, but there is an ordinance prohibiting them from living in the trailers
Okay.
or the RVs.
Well, if that's the case, I'm good with it, but I would still like to see.
But I still would,
Yeah, I would like to
yeah,
see it put
put it in there.
because I couldn't find it when I searched all through Munico, and I could not find an ordinance that speaks to.
No,
in
I
it.
would, yeah, add it in
Yeah,
there,
so-
please.
The push would be we're eliminating RVs, period. That's the difference,
Yes, that's what
correct?
I was
Okay, that's why,
asking.
I just want to be clear. That's the difference. here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Let me ask the question that we that needs to be answered. How are we going to enforce this? We know we need it done. I have no doubts. And I see it too. The gate open, we can see it. The gate open, we can't see. So my question really is more to the attorney. Can the city, or is it legal to employ a drone? That's the question nobody wants to ask. Because the only way you're going to see on some of these properties, you got to go over the top. Unless, somebody see the manager picture and he can maybe see through their property, but everybody's not like that. Because a lot of times you got people living 2 or 3 homes together, they all got RVs, so they ain't telling each other. So are drones possible? Is it illegal or whatever? How are we going to really enforce this and can't get in there?
That's something that we'll have to research, because I'm not aware of municipalities that enforce in that way. There are very specific requirements under Florida statutes. I don't know if that's something the technology is affording, that the law is changing or evolving with that. So we'll look into it and we'll get back with you.
Okay, because the only way I know, and I'm just going from my knowledge, the only way you get into a property is what they used to do years ago, where when you went out and did an assessment, looking at every property in your city to see what's supposed to be there versus what we have on the books. Like the manager said, it's supposed to be a shed, but now it's a house. The county used to have that program where they went out, especially in certain areas, unincorporated. You're supposed to have 3 bedrooms. They looked, and you have 4. Now they know you done something. And that was because you could come onto the property. But I don't see anybody letting us on the property. So I'm asking about the drone. How are we going to make folks really comply? And I know the legislation how to live, but they got the same challenge of the enforcement unless they can see it or get in there to see it. So now we have this educational forum to let folks know it's coming. I can see, I don't know how you can go with a gate, but
6 feet.
you go 6 feet. Well, I think some of them higher than 6. I don't know how they
Yes.
do it,
And
but like some of them gates are higher than 6 feet right now. So as we're putting it together and we all want the same thing, we need to keep in mind how we're going to actually enforce it. So, Madam Attorney, we can look at the technology will afford us a drone or whatever means, because just knocking on the gate saying, we think you got a trailer back there or RV looks like you shouldn't have, or like you said, nobody's living in it. Because that's what I hear a lot. It's there, but nobody's living in it until late at night when you see the cord running. So I think that if you could research that and maybe look at that, won't hold the legislation up, but I think that's something at some point to really enforce what we're trying to do is going to be needed. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problem. So any other questions for our code enforcement director or Mr. Manager? Okay, for the sake of time, Madam Attorney, the amendment, you can work with Commissioner Williams on the amendment because it's a lot. And Ms. Wilcox, because she added to it as well. But I just would like to see something that speaks to that in all zones, not just residential. So we're good. We can call the question on the item without the amendment, and then second reading, please work with each other to add the amendment.
Would this be after, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, would this be after you all have the workshop on it and talk through it more, or do
From
you
what I'm
want us?
gathering, we're ready to move forward with
Okay.
it. The only thing I'm adding, asking if the sponsor is okay with it, that you add the amendments before second reading.
Okay,
Thank you.
let me work with the sponsor.
Yeah, work with
on
the
that.
sponsor,
Okay.
however y'all play it out. All right, so we can call the question.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes,
Motion passes first reading.
all right. We're going to our last item of the night, 16A, what is this, 4?
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Calipero, Fearman, and Lorena Garcia LLP for independent consultant audit support services to provide the city with audit preparation services.
Madam Attorney,
Yes.
16A4, first
I
reading
am-
ordinance.
I'm looking at the wrong section. Thank you.
Yeah.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, piggybacking the Sourcewell Cooperative Program Agreement 101221-VTR with Environmental Products Group, Inc. to accept a 4-year capital lease agreement for the purchase of a Vector Model 21151 mounted on a new 2023 Freightliner Model 114 SD truck chassis in the amount of $524,402 $88 at an interest rate of 5.69%, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager, this is your item. You can present it, then we'll open up for public hearing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. So this is an item that is actually a vehicle for our Public Works Department. However, we've had extensive work on this lease agreement through our financial services with the budget administrator, Mr. Robert Anathan. So after public hearing, we have Mr. Anathan available to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Okay, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Hearing none, seeing none, public hearing is closed. All right, do we have any questions for Mr. Anathan on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
just one question. After this, is over, would we still own it?
Through the mayor, yes, sir.
We would own it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
4-year capital lease.
Thank you.
Okay, no other questions for Mr. Anathan? Madam Clerk, we can call the question.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0, first reading.
All righty, we're going down to our city manager's report. Mr. Manager, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first announcement I'd like to make is a great and positive one. We are continuing to make extensive progress on our historic city hall and the rehab and shooting for a date now on May when all renovations and rehabilitation will be complete. Next, my office will be reaching out to the clerk's office to coordinate responses from the commission with regard to paint color. We have some options for the commission to look at and make some decisions on. So really excited to get that in your inboxes or however way that you want to review that. Next, I want to give a response from an earlier question from Commissioner Kelly with regard to the park studies. We do have a grant, the Safe Streets grant, that does do the traffic studies throughout the city. Now, that is separate from the traffic study on Alibaba. That one's just for the parking meters. So we are looking at that grant. It's a 80-20 grant, 80% from FDOT and 20% from the city. So that will provide us some traffic study information citywide. With regard to the other traffic study in Alibaba, we've been having some delays with that particular contractor that would awarded that agreement. They just sent back after months of having the contract and CIP department following up, city manager's office following up to find out what the status is. They just sent back recently a list of concerns with the agreement to be handled by the city attorney's office from their attorneys. And seemed like it was some extensive revisions that may require that agreement, if agreed to, be brought back to the commission. So I wanted to provide you an update on that. While I'm providing updates on RFPs and bids, I also want to provide you an update on one of the most important projects to us is the citywide entryways. We've had extensive delays from this particular contractor that was awarded this contract. They've come back with numerous revisions. They've come back with, they've been non-responsive, weeks on end with no response. And now they are seeking significant changes in the presentation and what was agreed upon. So we will be asking the permission of the commission to terminate that agreement. And we are currently looking for a contract where we may be able to, we're looking for a piggyback contract, which we will be able to execute immediately. Finding no piggyback contract, we would like to get the permission from the commission, which would be brought in resolution to select the next the next company from the competitive bid.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
The question that I have on that, you already have identified a piggyback, or you said you're looking, or what is?
We are searching for a piggyback contract at this time. So that is our first option. If that option doesn't come through, we're going to ask permission from the commission to go to the second bid option.
And you're looking to bring that to us, obviously not the next meeting, but the meeting after that?
Yes, sir.
So I guess that would be the first meeting April.
We'd like to, well, if we find the add-on contract, we're going to bring it back as an add-on item to the next meeting. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I've been screaming about those gateways for a while now, and I'm
yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Wait till you finish this whole report before we ask questions. Or?
No.
If you have a question,
I'll take questions on this item, sir.
You mentioned about the company that's non-responsible on the traffic study on Alabama. You said the changes or whatever they want, they got to go back to legal because they're proposing. Yeah, I'm trying to understand that.
I'll call Mr. Anathan up to discuss the request in the contract, as you can recall, that the company had made.
Evening, Commissioner Bob Anathan, Financial Support Services. I did not read the contract. I just forwarded it directly to the city attorney for their action.
So it was a whole list of items that regarded indemnity, how the indemnity would work, who would carry the different indemnities and certain things like that.
But when we send out for these kind of things, that's part of the package, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
So when they submitted their bid or whatever, they knew that was part of the package.
Yes, sir, they did.
Okay, so Madam Attorney, I guess it's in your hands now, since it was sent to you. I'm really trying to understand two things. Number one, they got us on delay because that should have really been finished by now for that part. And number two, I guess when you're looking at it, if the manager or you all decide that it's not worth going forward, I want to see about going after them for pain and suffering. I don't know what you call it. Because we waited a long time. And if those are the issues, and again, you're the attorney, so I guess you can let us know as a commission and the manager's office know, but we've been waiting a long time for this. And if they've got questions about the agreement, and they were fully aware of the parameters, so you can get back with us on that. I have a real challenge on that. And the other one with regard to the company that no longer seems to be viable for the entryways. I know you're hoping to piggyback, But I will say this, if it's gonna be a long time, and I've said this before, please do something through the beautification division for the entryways we got now and the signs we got now. It seems like it's gonna be any length of time to piggyback, to get a contract, to get them working, to get whatever. Let's at least spruce up flowers, et cetera, whatever we could do around the entryways that we have already in place, because they're definitely, and I had said a lot about it because I thought we were going to be changing the whole thing pretty soon, but it seems like that's not going to happen overnight. So we could at least do that until then. But yeah, I'd like to know, is they holding us up on that? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Manager, Commissioner Kelly, I agree with you on it needs to move forward, but I don't want to, I'd rather putting a Band-Aid on it, let that be our last resort. Because if we put a Band-Aid on it, I don't want us to kick the can down the road and we get comfortable. So I'd rather us exhaust all of our efforts to ensure that we have a date certain that it's gonna happen. So if you're gonna bring that piggyback by next meeting, then make sure whoever it is that, hey, we want it done by June, we want it done. And because, to me, you've already put a Band-Aid on it, y'all put them seals and some of them you already painted. But I don't want to invest, my opinion, I'm only one of five, to invest more resources in existing structures. And because to me, it's just gonna kick the can down the road, because it's gonna, delay it even more.
Well, Mr. Mayor, what I was saying, it was going to be a long time.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I
but
agree with you.
but it's going to be a long time. We got to do something.
The last, the very,
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Kelly, you done?
No, I'm good. I'm
Okay,
good.
Commissioner Williams.
Okay, through the manager question, did they pull out of the agreement because they wanted to raise the cost? Was it clear? What did they give you the reason why they've been non-responsive?
Well, it's been a long and arduous trial. I can give you a brief synopsis, but if to really provide you with some significant details, as we've had some extensive conversation with them, please allow me to call up Adelina Gross, our CIP manager, and she can provide some specific details. And while she's coming forward, one of the issues that we identified is that one of our entryways was hit on a car accident. And so we were able to ascertain there that they didn't have the concrete bases. So that is no fault of the RFP. The RFP contemplated, redoing the facade. But we began as a city first to look at, okay, we need to probably redo all of the bases of the entryways, which will incur some additional costs, nothing significant, nothing certainly that didn't require them to be non-responsive for 6 weeks at a time in between responding to us. I'll allow Ms. Gross to give some kind of blow by blow details.
Good evening, Mayor and
One second.
Commissioners.
That was what you gonna do?
Yeah.
That's okay.
So to give more information regarding this company, we have been requesting updates and progress reports from them since January this year. They did provide some information. We won't say they didn't provide no information at all. However, not all the information requested was provided to the city. We kept following up with them. We need a schedule, we need costs, and they provided part of the information again, but nothing concrete that they will tell you, hey, in the next 2 months, we will start the project, or this is the actual cost for removing and remodeling all the signs. At this point, we have had several meetings. There are several emails requesting information. No response has been received. Actually, we had a meeting last week. When I say last week, they were supposed to send information Friday. They didn't send anything. We haven't heard back from them. We are still waiting for information from them.
Okay. So, well, thank you for the update, because that tells me that I wouldn't even want to continue to go to work with a company that's not going to work with us. But my question, and I'm not sure, this may be to the attorney. If we put out an RFP and we do bids and companies win those bids and this happens. What's the fail safe? Shouldn't they be able to, if they've been allowed to, string along a city with nothing, we can't recoup, we can't,
The city could
we
have
can't,
through the vice mayor. If
Yes.
it's okay. The city could have some language that requires putting up money for like something similar to a bond. It wouldn't be a bond, but something like that. The city could require that, there are probably some other things, legal things that we can do, but that's something. I know at one time it was difficult to get bids in for the city, right? And so that could be something that you may want to look at the flip side of that. I think
Yeah.
the city is getting bids in now, but and so the city actually watered down contracts and did different things in order to make it more appealing. If things are going well now and the pendulum needs to swing back, we can certainly look at that based on the manager's guidance. We can structure language that would be that would address some of these things that you're bringing up now.
okay, yeah, because I don't technically also want to run people away to do work in the city, but there should be something where we never do work with them again, or that they should never be able to be allowed to bid on anything else again in our city. If they, there has to be something in some language in that contract that says, if you do this, then you cannot bid for the next 5, 10 years, something like that,
Or I can hold you accountable. For.
Exactly. Hold you accountable for why go through this process and have us waiting if you're not going to be accountable to seeing the project through.
So what we'll do is we'll work with our procurement officer to draft some language to submit to the city attorney for approval that accomplishes that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions or concerns to Ms. Adelina Gross or the manager on this? Hearing none, Ms. Manager, that finished? Are you done
Yes,
with your report?
just have a few more
Okay.
items. So we've got a lot of feedback on our parks. And we are going to be requesting an additional workshop to look at Ingram Park and also to look at not Helen Miller, Bundy Park, my apologies, to get some guidance from the commission about how we lay out some of the competing tasks. Do we want to have where do we want to place the baseball field? Do we want to have racetracks, running tracks? Do we want football fields at both locations? To kind of get some guidance from the commission on how we want to move that forward. In addition, we're looking at going to be requesting a development workshop as how we develop the properties in the city and how those lands, to get some guidance from the commission. We've got some unsolicited proposals for senior housing, and we've got some RFPs we want to put out. We want to bring those to the commission and get your feedback on them. If you want to change the language or add some additional things to them before we put those out and bring them for a resolution. In addition, I want to address some concerns for Commissioner Kelly with regard to the finance department. It is the intention of administration to continue with the supplemental organization while we are continuing to aggressively hire accountants for our finance department. It is a very, very, very competitive field right now. We're competing against the county. We're competing with all the other cities, and we've actually included a bonus structure in there to try to hire accountants. So we're aggressively trying to hire and retain additional talent. And it's our intention until all these audits are completed, federal one included, that the current supplemental team will remain in place.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
I brought that up when they were there because I know we had an agreement with them. I don't remember how long the agreement was. And since they are going to be working going forward, that's why I brought that up. So the agreement already extends for how long, or is that something that has to come back?
That's something that has to come back, and
Okay.
it will be at the next commission meeting. We're going to do some. We have about 2 to 3 weeks of wrap up work to kind of prepare for the next audit. So we're hoping to get that passed at the next commission meeting and they can hit the ground running.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You have more, Ms. Manager?
Just a little more.
No, you stop talking. That's why I asked. We're
Okay.
gonna move on.
So I do have the unfortunate responsibility to, again, make you aware of some of the issues that we've had in our police department. Although we continue to have the lowest crime rate in the city, and I have 10 years on my data. I think the police chief has 12 years on the data. I haven't seen his updated data yet, so I'm still going to go with 10 years since I know that to be true. But we've had some incidents at our parks. Over the weekend, we had a wake where we had a situation where a fight broke out. Unfortunately, police were called and no arrests were made. We also had at an apartment complex, another fight broke out that was even more significant and larger, and arrests were made, and an individual was tased. And we've had a significant increase in traffic issues. We've now had our second traffic accident in less than 2 months. We had two vehicles crash. One vehicle caught fire. We had one of the vehicles drove off, but we were able to find the driver at Aventura Hospital, sedated, and proceeded to make an arrest. And this has just been something I want to make the commission aware of. As you may know, when these things happen, I do send out the alerts, but it's definitely something I want to bring to your attention. Should we need to look at more legislative responses, considering the increase in traffic violations and traffic issues that we've had. This concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any concerns or questions to the manager on his report?
Through the mayor,
Commissioner Williams?
I did have one question and it wasn't in the report. I know that we talked about the marketing firm and the RFP. I wanted to see where were we with that? And if nothing has happened, I would like to make a motion. But if you can tell me first.
So the RFP is out. It has not closed yet. I don't think we have any additional updates on that besides that. Mr. Anderson, you want to provide us an update on that? Closed April 10th.
Okay, so that's a little far out. Well, not that far, but do we know do we have any bids right now? Have people been putting in or we don't? Because I know before it was no one applied. So I'm just wondering.
Yeah, Yes, I don't, we wouldn't have a response yet.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Too soon.
We did have, I believe 3 to 5 responses the last go round. So we're hoping to get at least 3 bids this go round.
Okay. Okay. Then I'll save my motion, but I have no issues with consultants.
Yes. So we have been hiring.
Okay. I believe in consultants, and if that's the route we need to take until we get someone, then I'm A-okay with that.
Yes.
For the commission to choose the consultant.
Oh,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
all right. That would not be in my office.
No, go ahead. You were saying.
I'm almost in agreement with Commissioner Williams, only because it closes on the 10th. Then you go through the whole cone of silence, then you go through the whole interview process. So we won't get probably a new person until the new fiscal year. So in the interim, there are a lot of things that are happening in the city of Opa-locka. So
I think there are 2 issues here that we've always kind of got conflated that I want to clarify. There's a permanent position to support the commission. And what I would love to do is present those candidates to the commission, get your feedback on that selection so that you have a permanent person that works for the commission to assist you with your events. I believe that's a high need. If I get permission from the commission and approval from the city attorney to proceed in that manner?
I don't think you should proceed in that manner. I think you should, if it is a position that is under your control and you put it and you go through HR and whatever you normally would do for a position, that's the way you should proceed. If it's something that you're looking to put out for bid, you have to do it under the procurement process.
Yes. So there is a gap. The way our charter, and I'm not sure how to respond to this, the way our charter is written is that all of the employees report and are hired by the city manager. Obviously, I understand the need for you to have someone to work with you that you select directly. And I'm not opposed to that, but I would just, I'll request permission to work with the city attorney to see if there's some solution to that.
Let me ask you a question, and I know we can't get into it. I don't want to, because the hour's far spent, and it is Monday. We just got the weekend. I do. Is this a public relations position, or what is without diving so deep in it? What is the?
Yes, so it is it's like a public relations coordinator, and that's somebody that would manage your events, manage your calendar, manage your engagements. They would work with a public relations person. Say, for example, if you had an interview coming up, to get that scheduled, to get your talking points, do the things that traditional public relations companies just don't do. Attend your events. Public relations companies don't traditionally attend your events. And do some other, and do the things, maybe your unique social media posts. Maybe you want them to manage your social media posts, and they're not just somebody for the city and the commission. So those are kind of individual things that they would work on with helping you plan your events, selecting your coordinator for your events, selecting your vendors for your events, working with procurement to make sure the vendors that you want, we get the separate bids for and things like that.
Through the mayor. So I'm seeing, I think we're talking about two different things. I'm hearing a position for, what you said, public relations person?
Yes, like a media and public relations coordinator.
Coordinator,
Yes.
okay. But I think, where I'm thinking is a little bit more global, and we're talking about marketing initiatives, changing the narrative of the city, things that need to happen on a more global level, not, small little press releases or things like that, but to ensure that all of our initiatives, those large initiatives, whether, it's beautification or et cetera, that now it has a more wider reach, so that the community, not just our community, but communities outside of us also know this is what we're doing. So I think that I'm talking more of a firm and not the person. The person could sit in your, wheelhouse, which is under the management's office. I'm talking a consultant that's going to do the work that we're required, that we need, that we've been asking for a while, that I think that some of us felt like we didn't get through the previous firm. The firm that can step in and make things happen right now, not so much that they're going to be the firm after the bids and et cetera, but that they can step in and do the work right now that we're asking for.
But
I don't know if the question is for me, but what I would suggest, Commissioner Williams, through the mayor, is that you all continue with the process that you have right now. And if you find that there are things in the RFP that are not addressed, those are things that you can have separate negotiations with that firm that is a successful bidder. But since you have a process ongoing and you have a number of different items in that, in that list of things that you all actually had a discussion about as far as things that you wanted to see from a PR firm, hopefully they're all covered. But to the extent that they're not, then those are things that perhaps the successful bidder can, either do, or maybe they're already fit under some other category. But you have a process ongoing. I would suggest to you all to let the process complete itself, and it's early April, and and maybe some quick turnaround where you have maybe an emergency meeting after after the bids come in within so many days, and you all have an opportunity to look at that. But you have a process, so my advice to you is that you kind of flow with your process.
Well, we just we passed two items tonight that says that the community is going to be aware or needs to be aware of those two items without knowing how, I mean, we're putting this on the staff to make or a workshop, but I don't think that reaches.
So you have, it's the 18th of March, right? So those items still have, time where you'll still have some processing time. You could also revisit that and make the time 45 days instead of 15 days, instead of 30 days. I mean, there are things that you can do, but I'm just saying to you all so that you don't have a problem with your process that you've already put out for bid and somebody, saying that you're doing something different now. And maybe they said that they relied on, whatever you did to take the time to, I don't know, whatever claims could be made. I'm just suggesting that you allow the process to work itself out.
If I may really quickly here, I know Commissioner Kelly remembers this, but communication, and this is about getting our residents know what's going on. Communication has always been an issue in our city. However, there was a time that we would put up the tall signs.
Right.
The tall signs, one would be in front of City Hall, and there was one on the east side. Like there was one that our residents knew what was going on in the city because of that sign had everything on it. And if it's something that's really, really important, I think that we might need to revisit that time. You remember that?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner
I think two things to my colleagues. The position that the manager has under his purview used to serve as kind of that liaison for those things with the commission. If you've been around, I think Miss Gordon, I think her name was. Miss Gordon did that, whether it was our individual projects, getting the word out, the whole media, and she was a one-man band, but she got it done. And so I was thinking that was going to be a position field that could handle some of those roles, and then the firm would handle the bigger global outreach. She would be, well, I shouldn't say she, that person under the manager's purview would be responsible for the 90 days or whatever, or make recommendations. Because she used to say, this is too much for us to do. And that's how we wound up with signs of, that said, do it. And I'm a firm believer this day, put those signs out all four corners, because that's what we do when we run for office. Everybody sees those signs 2 or 3 times while they're coming from work. They know. It's like our Easter egg hunt. We need to have a sign right now, 2 of them, one on each side, one on 22nd, that says Easter egg hunt at Ingram Park. Because if we don't, people are going to steal it, even though we're going to do flyers. But if I pass by there, it's ingrained. So I think that position is critical to be filled through the manager's office. I know we want someone that kind of works for us, but that's a position that's already budgeted. And I would say too, that we need to let the PR firm that we put out, whatever, play out. And if it's something we're not acceptable to or don't get candidates, we can revisit. But what I don't want is to have people putting in bids and we're not giving them full due process. Because I think that's one of our challenges we've had historically with the bidding process. So I would suggest filling that position. Obviously, you hear the concerns of the commission, what that person needs to be able to do. And if you don't want to hire them on a permanent basis, maybe you try them out as a consultant through that money allotment in that and go from there. Because I do think you need to get the word out more than what we're going to do, even for the 2 things we're passed tonight. And that's why I mentioned how we're going to get it out. So that'll be my suggestion. Can't be those signs. If signs don't move, they will tell you what's happening in the city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And we can move on, but Mr. Manager, hearing Commissioner Kelly, I understand what Commissioner Williams is saying. We got to get through, yes, we need to go through the process, but in the interim, there are things that are happening that we need to get the word out. So I'm down for the whole signage and however, my only question is, I know the commission, we don't get into day-to-day operations because that's your wheelhouse. When do you think you'll have that person hired? He or she?
We're looking to have that person hired within the next 30 days.
Within the next 30 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I just wanted to revisit the signage. Through the mayor to the attorney, can we make a motion now for the signs to be placed up, or is there something that need to?
I think through consensus, you can, let the manager know. I guess he's hearing you, and it sounds that
Okay.
through consensus, if that's the
So-
consensus of the board, the mayor can, the manager can certainly proceed in that manner without a motion.
So because we know these events are happening, so this needs to needs to happen like yesterday. And so specifically, I would specifically say, definitely the Easter egg hunt. That's huge for our city. Well, it is a lot going on, but I'm saying specifically for the children. Let me say that I think for our kids, our kids in the community, we need to get that word out. I don't know. I can't say which event, but I do know that I'll speak to residents and they'll say, oh, I did not know that the pool was open, or I did not know that I would have come had I known. So I think there are some things that we definitely need to have signage for.
I am not opposed to signage.
No.
I'm not opposed to signage, but I think it's a little too late in the game to do it now. Cause I also I want us to be, good stewards with our money. Because if we order it tomorrow, it won't be printed. It's like a 2-3 day turnaround. So you talk about Thursday. So that means once you install it, it's installed Friday. The pool party is Friday. Not bingo. And Bunny Jam is the next day. So maybe going forward. But yeah, going forward.
Okay.
This week, I think it's we're just gonna have to, the commission gonna have to roll up the sleeves and we're gonna have to ensure that we get the word out for these events this week.
Okay, yeah,
All right.
going forward.
But going forward.
That includes the sign, that includes our gateway sign. Is that still
Yeah, but he's bringing that up and
the gateway sign too?
now, however, Mr. Manager, I will say this. When we do put these signs out, I don't want us to look like we're in campaign mode all throughout the year. So let's strategically put it in maybe a couple. So one big sign with all of the events, not like on every fence we got. Yeah. Please.
Understood.
A classy look. I always said it that way, a classy.
Mr. Mayor, I have a few announcements.
All right, hold your announcements, Madam Attorney, and let's go through all of this and then we'll let you go up.
Question for the
Go
manager.
ahead, Commissioner.
Mr. Manager, can you give me an update on the 100K that was set aside for the historic restoration grant?
Yes, that is being managed by the Community Development Department, particularly being spearheaded by our city planner, Randall. He's doing great work on that with our HEP board. We've consulted with them. We've got our policies and procedures, just turned those over to the city attorney's office and just waiting for the final sign off for legal sufficiency. But besides that, we're ready to go.
Okay, so I should get that soon, Ms. Attorney, Madam Attorney?
I don't know when that came in. I'll check with
Okay.
Candace and see. when that-
Okay. Another question I have, and this is from residents last week, as we all know that Miami-Dade County moved their bus routes, and specifically the 32 now picks up on 37th Avenue, and she asked about bus benches there. And I apologize because I was in the workshop. I can't remember if they said that the city purchased bus benches or the county.
It's a county, but I will say this. A lot of the routes right now, they're redoing, the manager's aware, they're redoing and restructuring the routes because I pitched the fit that Opa-locka was eliminated. So they're in motion now to restructure, and they're gonna do another workshop with the city of Opa-locka to let us know what they're adding back. And that's in process right now, because I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
raising hand about that.
We are also adjusting our RFP for our routes, for the rideshare and bus routes, permanent bus routes, to cover the areas where we lost when the county restructured.
Okay.
And just for you, and the part RFP, did they wash the buses? I call you about that a lot. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I can't, the fact that we contracted out, and they don't clean the buses. I pull up the next door buses and it just is, they don't, and they got our logo right there, bright opportunities, and it looks terrible. They can at least watch the bus. I mean, I called y'all numerous times. I haven't talked to you directly, but left message. That's one of my pet peeves. Just doesn't make any sense. So when the vice mayor brought that up, it made me think of, thank you, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
And I have another question. Don't know if this exists, but I'll ask it. This time of the year, a lot of leaves are falling. On Opa-locka Boulevard, all the trees must have lost all of their leaves. And I was concerned about those leaves eventually making it into our drains and possibly stopping them up. I don't know if is there such a thing as a leaf vacuum, like in the commercial?
A street sweeper is what you're referring to.
But the street sweeper just push it out the way.
No,
Does it
it
actually
suck it
suck
up.
it up?
It sucks it up.
Oh, well, we have a street sweeper, don't
Yes, we do.
Okay, Mr. Manager, can we get that street sweeper to work more on Opa-locka Boulevard?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
Any other questions for the manager?
I have a
Oh, you want to roll,
statement.
Vice Mayor? Go ahead.
It's a statement. It's a statement. And I couldn't wait to give it with my report, but I don't have a report really. Okay. I want to give kudos out to the police department, specifically Officer New York there. After a day of work, I see this U-Haul creeping the neighborhood. I look, I'm watching, he's up to no good. So, and I was right. He was actually illegally dumping crap at Shabundy Park. And I happened to, I know an officer that's working at night. I got to find somebody. And they were able to catch him. So thank you so much. Our officers keep doing a great job because it's that time of the night that the illegal dumpsters are dumping. So we got one that night. Thank you so much.
All right.
I'm good.
You good? Any other for the manager? No. Okay, so we're going to official board reports. I see no one here. Our commission report. We can start from left to right. Commissioner Williams.
All righty. I did want to mention the illegal dumping has increased. I don't know if everybody's seen that. It has. I know that legislation was passed. We had a C-click fix. There was a lot of things that were happening. We need to revisit the illegal dumping task force and all of that stuff that worked before. I know that we had either was an app or a phone number. There was something that was connected or directed straight to the police department. We also had I believe it was $10,000 that was earmarked in the police budget that if someone was caught illegally dumping and they were prosecuted, is that the word? Prosecute. If they
Arrested.
Okay, that's my law and order. That they will receive a reward. So I think those are things we've got some legislation that was passed, and we really need to make sure that we revisit it, because I am telling you, we are getting hit, residential, commercial, everywhere with, you name it, couches, everybody's dumping right now, and we need to work on that. Lastly, I want to shout out, I have no idea who this resident was, because when I circled back, she was gone, but she was a senior, and she was at an illegal dumping entryway right in front of the alley. And she was there with a bucket and one of those grabbers, and she was cleaning the whole area. And I thought, wow, and I know she was a Hispanic woman, and when I see her, I'll see her face. But for her to take that initiative to say, I'm gonna be my own one-woman, city cleaning person. So that kind of gave me that spark again that we need to, like, not only her, but we all need to roll up our sleeves and clean up our own city and not just put it in the hands of the police department. So we'll be coming back with that. But we know it's a little hot right now, so we'll get back to that. And last but not least, the sister soiree. Saturday, March 23rd, I expect to see Commissioner Kelly as well as Mayor Taylor there. 6 to 9. I know you have church the next day, but it's okay. We will have poetry, live music, arts, entertainment, libations. It is open to everyone and it is also free. So come out. And also the ARC also has a women's history art compilation going on there as well. And if you're available, please come out to the Living Well. It's the second annual, actually, community health fair and food distribution. And shout out to Mr. Wayne Barton Foundation and everyone that's involved in that, as well as the police department. You all always, and Pastor Dwaley Brown as well. And I am so excited for Vice Mayor Irvin's initiatives that's going to happen before spring break, and because we know who is going to be ready for the pool. So thank you all. Have a happy spring break, safe, and we'll see you on the other end. Thank you.
Commissioner Bass?
Just quickly, I just want to announce that Mayor and Commission City of Opa-locka will be hosting our chess community event every first Saturday of the month from 12 to 1:30. The scheduled time and places are on the flyers. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all learning how to play chess, and we can accommodate 100 at a time. So we can do a lot.
Okay,
So
that's what I was gonna ask you,
Mhm.
if it's also to teach, because I had some
Yes.
kids
Mhm.
say that they didn't know.
definitely.
Okay, including myself, don't know how. Okay,
All right, Vice Mayor?
hello again. Friday, your children have no school on Friday. There's no school on Friday. Bring them over to Shermundi Park to the pool, and we will feed them, play games with them, and have a great time. So please bring them out to the pool party on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under my report, we'll continue to work with Feeding South Florida, put the program back in place. I did through the clerk's office address the questions and comments, concerns that were raised by my colleagues. Since the program will be under the city, be a commission effort, so we'll be doing the flyers. We're scheduled to start again in April 19th. And one of the things we do hope to do is have some signage out as well. I know with some discussion about events here in the city, whether they would be residential only or non-residential. And according to Feeding South Florida, because we are paying for it, that is something that we can look at doing if we so choose to do. So I'll wait to hear how my colleagues want to proceed with that. There's going to be a commission effort. I myself would just recommend starting back up for the moment, which will be April 19th at 10 a.m. We hosted our Meet Me Monday last week. I want to thank the city manager, the deputy chief, police department for attending. Meet Me Monday, as always, is an open invitation for any staff. As I told him, the desire that he would like to have attend, they can come. As a result of the last few months and even folks coming here, we work with reaching out to Miami-Dade Water and Sewer, and also speaking to the manager's office to hopefully, as he indicated, he'll be there or have staff there for a special edition of Meet Me Monday on April the 1st at 6 p.m. at Helen Miller. There have been a lot of questions, in my opinion, lack of communication what's happening with the utility or water bills. I continue to get residents calling and concerned about getting bills from the county that they feel not only are not fair, getting two bills, et cetera, so forth. So I wanted to extend opportunity and an invitation that accepted to come out and have someone speak to the community and also address any concerns or questions that we may have. I know it's been a big gap. They kind of blamed us sometimes, and we no longer do utility billing. So I want to make sure that it's very clear going forward how that process, and hopefully have numbers and who you actually contact regarding the challenge you have with your utility bills. So of course, my colleagues are always welcome to attend, meet me Monday. Vice Mayor was there this past meeting as well. I think that's all I have under my report. Look forward to all of the initiatives that are taking place. And Commissioner Williams, I will be there at 6:01, at least till 6:15, but I'll be at 6.
14 minutes.
Before things get too heavy.
Commissioner Kelly, I just want to let you know how petty Commissioner Williams is. She went on Facebook and tagged all of us.
Well, I'll see it later, but I'll be there at 6:01. And me and Commissioner Bass will be leaving before all the libations take place, because we got. Thank you, Mr.
Drink minimum.
Commissioner Williams, you are mad petty.
You love it.
Before you do your final, I just wanted to get a follow-up on where we are with the manager's contract in negotiating. Are we good? I'm just asking.
I don't really know because we didn't.
The
discuss
contract was approved
This
as a
contract
part
was
of
already
your resolution
Okay.
at the last meeting.
Unless the manager,
So-
are you suggesting? that
No, I'm
we
just
negotiate?
asking. I'm just asking.
So,
I'm not aware if it was signed or not signed or.
well, the legislation was signed, so it's going to the state for approval. But as far as the contract is concerned,
I have not, Mr. Mayor, I have not signed any contract.
Mr. Mayor,
Madam Clerk.
it is being submitted to the state for review and approval before we proceed with obtaining Mr. Williams' signature.
Okay.
So what I did see in the resolution, I would like to have a conversation about a negotiation with a member of the commission, as that contract had several things in it. One had
So you want to renegotiate?
there was one particular item that had a probationary period of 6 months, given that I've been in the position for 2 years already. Yes, Mr. Mayor, that's not something I would like to discuss that item.
Okay. Okay, I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't mind. So Madam Clerk, Madam Attorney, or the clerk, being that the manager wants to renegotiate the contract, do we need to hold off on sending it to the state? I guess that's a question for the attorney and the clerk, and then bring it back? Or can we send the resolution as is and amend the contract later? How does that work, Madam Attorney?
I don't know what the process is with the state.
So, Mr. Mayor, so basically the state, they review the contract and the resolution as approved by the city commission. Now, if there's an amendment to be made, then I guess the commission will have to approve that amendment, and that too would also have to be sent to the state for review and approval once that has been completed. But at this time, they will be reviewing the resolution along with the contract that was approved by the city commission.
Okay. And Mr. Manager, you said there was some changes in the contract that you wanted to address.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, can we have a conversation about that and we bring that back to the commission for final approval?
Yes, sir.
So what we already have, if that's okay with the.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
That's okay.
I'm okay with it. My question is, will we all have a say also? And because if we want to leave certain things or How does that work, Madam Attorney? Do we tell you?
Well, if you all designate someone, I think it's appropriate, as the manager suggested, that one of
Okay.
you works with him. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And so if one of you, if this mayor, that's how it was done before with
Yeah.
Mr. Pate.
Mm.
So perhaps the mayor works with the city manager and you all come, to whatever changes he has, and then that will come back to be approved by all of you. So it would be, the negotiation might take place with the mayor, for instance, but then when it comes back to be approved as a resolution in a format that they have agreed tentatively to, it still has to be approved by the city commission. So that would not be the final step, just negotiating with the mayor.
So we're able to share with the mayor what our thoughts?
No,
That's
ma'am.
what,
No,
that's what I
ma'am.
was saying.
No, ma'am.
Open forum, so that had to be done in the sunshine.
Okay, that's
Right.
what I'm asking.
No,
Okay.
you wouldn't be able to share with the mayor, but when it comes back to the commission, so presumably whoever is negotiating with the mayor, with the manager, they come to terms on whatever, it comes back to you all as this is something that has been agreed upon tentatively, and then you all would then review it, and if you have other changes or suggestions, then that will take place at that time as a part of a resolution that's approving the amendment to the contract.
Okay, my only suggestion is, I agree, we can move forward with the contract, and we're just walking on at the next meeting. That way the commission, at that time, we can take a moment and discuss.
Okay.
And add on, subtract, and if that's okay with the commission. Madam Attorney?
That's fine.
That's
Whatever
fine.
you all do.
All right. Okay. That's.
Thank you.
Okay, so, Mr. Manager, we'll talk offline and we'll sit down and
Yes, sir.
iron it out. So for my report, you had the oversight, we're all aware, so kudos to the finance department and management office for ensuring that we are finally up to date on our audits. My only concern is that the last year is due this month with the extension till June. So, but we will have it by the extension.
So I want to give us plenty of time. So a minimum of 6 months will be the request to JLAG. Now we probably will get it in time. We have been late on these audits for 10 years now. And they are very, very excited with the progress that we made. So I want to make sure that we give them a deadline that we know we can meet. We now have proven that we've been able to do an audit within 6 months. They're aware of that. We're the first city, according to their records, to complete 3 audits in 18 months. So we got a strong track record that say that we can get this done in 6 months, and 6 months will be the time that I'll be requesting.
Okay, the only concern that I have, and I brought this up to you before, that even if we do the 6 months next year, I at least want to start on time. So I don't want it to drag on and then we hear, oh, we can't
Yes.
do it by March. That's what.
Yes, that will put
All
us on track to continue to submit on timely.
All right. And do you have an update for Glorietta Gardens?
Yes, have a very exciting update for Glorietta Gardens. They have finally, after nearly a year, submitted a payment plan to pay off their water bill, which has reached $1 million. And that agreement will be presented to the commission at the next commission meeting.
Okay. All right. All right. So the other thing is, Ms. Banks brought up, and I thought I saw you send a police officer to talk to her, but I don't know if that happened. Ms. Banks brought up the sign that was down behind the grocery store. When I'm asking that you do an overhaul sign assessment throughout the city, because there are a lot of signs that are down, not just in that area, or vice versa, or upside down. So there's something that I'm hoping that you would do, a sign assessment throughout the whole city.
Okay.
And that would be the end of my report outside of, well, we know the pool party is Friday. We have Bunny Jam on Saturday at 12, and this year is going to be at Ingram Park. So we want to invite all of the residents out to come enjoy and pick eggs and bounce in the bounce house. And Vice Mayor is looking at me. We got food and it's going to be a fun night. And unfortunately, we'll be at the sister soiree for 14 minutes. Commissioner Kelly said we only required to go for 14 minutes.
She didn't catch that, did
Mr. Mayor, I have an announcement.
Yes, ma'am. Before you make your announcements, let's go through the finish it, and then I'll let you, we'll go in and we'll do adjournment right after you do yours. We have any board appointments? All right, and again, Mr. Manager, you know how I feel about boards.
Mr. Mayor?
Okay.
I do have two appointments, well, reappointments for your consideration. They are at large. Nikesha Williams, her appointment on the Historic Preservation Board has expired.
Okay.
And she is seeking reappointment. And also Claudine Hibbert, she's on the Planning and Zoning Board, and her term has also expired, and she is seeking reappointment. Ms. Hibbert is a real estate consultant, and she's one of the experts on the Planning and Zoning Board as required by the ordinance.
All right, so I want to make a motion to reappoint Miss Nikesha, not Nikesha, Mykesha Finn to the historical.
No,
Williams.
Who?
Nikesha Williams. Mhm.
To the
Historic Preservation.
Preservation Board,
Mhm.
and what was the other person?
Claudine Hibbert.
Miss
to the
Claudine Hilbert to the
Planning and
Planning and
Zoning.
Zoning Board. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Okay, no nays, so we're good. So
Who's second?
motion made by Mayor, second by
Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and Mr. Manager, the boards, please. I want to get them up and running.
So we've been having some challenges getting quorum. Is there a number of times we can have a discussion about how many attempts before seeking different members? For example, we've clerked the teen board with Mrs. Ashley Walker, and she reaches out on a weekly basis to try to get that board operating, has been unsuccessful.
Well, no, because they're
Miss-
having a meeting on Wednesday at
Yes,
5:30.
They are.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, don't.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be there 5:30.
Thank you, Lord.
But we can,
Thank you, Lord.
I was gonna work on legislation for that anyway, so let's talk offline.
Okay,
As it
great.
relates to
That
that.
was what my request is going to be.
All right.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor, with regards to the Charter Review Board, I did reach out to the members that were appointed via email, to request that they fill out a board application and a board oath. I have not heard back from any of the three members, and then I'm pending information from one of your colleagues. Appointment. I didn't want to say Vice Mayor's name, but
Okay, so what we can do, let's circle back. First, Madam Clerk, reach out to the county to see if we have time. Because I know this is a busy year for elections, so it might not even be worth it. However, I do wanna push it forward if we can make the deadline. I believe it's in July or June.
yes, I believe it is July.
Okay, so let's reach out to the county to get the actual calendar and then circle back with everyone and Vice Mayor.
I have one question. For that particular board, they have to be residents of Opa-locka?
They have to be a registered voter in Opa-locka, yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
The at-large appointments, can we recommend someone for at-large?
For which
Or-
board?
The charter review.
So yes, for the Charter Review Board, the two at-large appointments are non-voting members, and they do not have to live or be registered voters in the city of Opa-locka.
Okay, I did reach out again to former Commissioner Audrey Edmondson, so I'll get back with you so that that can fill one of those positions.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
okay, all right. So, Madam Attorney, I turn the floor over to you, and then we'll move for adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city attorney's office gives notice of a closed door attorney-client session. Notice is hereby given that a private closed door attorney-client session pursuant to section 286.011 Florida statutes will be held in the commission chambers, 780 Fisherman Street, Opa-locka, Florida, on March 27th, 2024, starting at 6:30 p.m. on the third floor, and will be moved to an adjoining room if necessary. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss the following pending litigation matter. It is 2358 Northwest 151st LLC versus City of Opa-locka and Nova Health Services Florida LLC, case number 2022-022959 CA01. The following individuals will attend the session: Mayor Taylor, Vice Mayor Irvin, Commissioner Bass, Commissioner Kelly, Commissioner Williams, City Manager Darvin Williams, City Attorney Bernadette Norris Weeks, Assistant City Attorneys Michelle Austin Pamies and Candace Cobb, and on the record quote reporting the estimated length for this session will be 20 minutes. Also, I wanted to make the commission there was some discussion earlier about drone laws. And so while I was sitting here, I did a little bit of research, and there are both federal and state laws that have to be complied with. And there are exceptions to what you can do with drones. Some cities have specific drone regulations, but they cannot conflict with the state or federal laws. And so, for instance, the FAA has certain, there are certain things that are in place with the FAA. And since the city of Opa-locka does have an airport, we'll need to, further research that. But one of the things that you should be aware of, which suggests that you cannot do anything like this, Commissioner Kelly, with the drone, is that there are only certain exceptions that are allowed for drones to be utilized, and that's with law enforcement. Like one exception can be with law enforcement when it kind of you sort of have to almost get a warrant for that to do it. So you can't just sort of go out and do it for code enforcement, which is a lower level. So I did see that Florida law does allow this exception just for law enforcement when you know that there is a criminal activity afoot, or you have a reasonable suspicion and you get a warrant. So I just don't want us, I didn't want to wait until a couple of meetings later and you all not know that I had done some at least preliminary research for that. And I just wanted to bring just a couple of other small matters and to the since they came up in the meeting, I'm just bringing them up in the meeting. The manager did suggest that he would get back with you all on looking at RFPs, and I would just suggest to the manager that he does that either in a workshop setting or as an attachment for a non-voting item to a commission meeting, as opposed to sending it individually, so that we make sure there's no violations of the Sunshine Law. And then finally, the manager did say that he has a contract that he's going to bring regarding Glorietta Gardens. We are submitting legislation to the clerk tomorrow. We don't have that as a part of the legislation. So whatever that is, Mr. Manager, if you can please submit that to us tomorrow by noon so that we can look at that contract and it's beyond the deadline, but if we can get it done and it doesn't have to be an add-on, we'd like to submit it as a part of the regular items. That's all that I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Madam Attorney. Can we get a motion to adjourn? Move it. Moved by Commissioner Kelly, second by Vice Mayor. This meeting is adjourned.